Hi, welcome to a series I'm going to call Antag Review. Basically, I'm going to go through and talk about every antagonist in Space Station and examine how they affect the game, some improvements that they can be made, my complaints, things I like about them. And to start, we have to, of course, start out with the tried and the true. The original, the classic, the traitor, or syndicate agent, or whatever you want to call them. If you're unaware, which you must be new, syndicate agents function quite simply. They spawn in, they have 2 to 3, sometimes 4 objectives, including a fair few, which we'll talk about later. They have an uplink with a certain amount of TC or telecrystals, which act as a currency to buy useful items that they could use to complete their objectives. That's the simplest formula. They have objectives, which can vary wildly. We're going to go over them in a bit. They have very simple items that vary wildly in cost. And depending on the server, they also have a lot of weird restrictions that sometimes don't make a lot of sense. So, what do certain servers do? And how could we theoretically improve the Traitor? Well, for starters, we have to go over their objectives, because that's what matters. Syndicate objectives vary wildly. Basically, the objectives are as follows. Escape without being detected or arrested. Basically, be alive and uncuffed on evacuation when the round ends. Quite simple. Get away with it. There is survive, which a lot of servers don't have this anymore because it was considered way too easy and a fair bit boring. Essentially, it was just be alive at the end of the round. No shuttle required. There's the steal objectives, which require you to steal head of staff items. Pretty much every head of staff has at least one of these items. They're considered high-value syndicate targets based on the legality thing, and they can vary wildly in difficulty. For reference, RD's hand teleporter is usually not that difficult to acquire. Same with the Ian Meat, which requires murdering Hop's dog. CMO's hyperspray, or before it got changed, because I seriously don't understand why this was a thing, the tracker were also pretty easy. Certain items, though, like the nuclear disc, were nigh impossible to steal. Like genuinely, I don't know how anyone would get away with that, unless the security or captain was stupid. You're pretty much required to go loud. There's also the murder objectives, or maroon objectives. These might sound like the same thing, but they're really not. See, murder objectives usually require you to kill your target, and they're usually a head of staff. Now, obviously, heads of staff are a hard target because everyone wants them alive. Everyone knows they're a target for antags. Pretty much every antag in existence wants to kill heads of staff. And heads of staff equipment typically make them harder to kill than the average titer. Like, pretty much every single head of staff, actually no, literally every head of staff now, has a suit. And that already makes them harder to kill than the average titer. Anyway, the other objective are the maroon objectives. The maroon objectives just require your target to either be dead or not on evac with you at the end of the round. This actually makes it a fair bit easier because you could just deny a person going to evac. Like, you could just sleep someone for on the shuttle, toss them off, whatever. A lot easier to accomplish and a little bit lamer. There's also a couple other objectives. There's the assist and protect objectives, which are there's another syndicate agent on board, protect them and make sure they're alive at the end of the shift, or help them achieve their objectives. Self-explanatory. There is also the protect other person or protect target objectives. This essentially puts you as a counter-terrorist traitor who's sent on a special mission to make sure someone who is a guaranteed target of a syndicate agent and make sure they don't die. This objective, I think, is probably, I'll be real, this objective fucking sucks. For reference, the way this objective is programmed is it's usually a head of staff, just by the nature of how often heads of staff are targeted by agents. But at the same time, there's a large possibility that your target is just dead by the time you play the game. And I'll be real, that sucks. Like what's the point? What is the point of the objective then? If they're already dead or you can't just follow them around, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not really able to articulate why I don't like this objective that well. So I'm just going to say I don't like it. I can't explain why properly, but that's about it. The last objective, though, is rare and unique. Die a glorious death is an objective that has one completion condition. Die. That's your objective. You die. Sounds easy, but there's a twist. See, pretty much every server, unless you're fucking Starlight for some godforsaken reason, having die a glorious death results in you being able to completely and utterly ignore every single antagonist rule. You are able to kill anyone, do anything. Normally, antags are only allowed to cause a set amount of destruction as comparable to their objectives. So if they have like 3 murder targets, bombing both of your targets in medical is an acceptable thing to do. But if you have a steal objective, you're not allowed to go willy-nilly bombing everywhere. Which makes sense, because if every Antag was bombing everywhere, it would be boring. Die of the Greatest Death lets you do everything. Single-losing, max caps, unless you're Starlight for some freaking... Seriously, I don't think I brought this up in the Starlight video. Holy shit, what the fuck is the point of Die a Glorious Death if you aren't allowed to kill everyone? The whole point of the objective is to be a massive fucking problem. That's why it's rare. And especially the worst part about that, it's not fucking written down in the rules. Like, just straight up. It's not written down in their goddamn rules anywhere. It's boring. Anyway, as I was saying, the objectives as they are, I don't really think are a major problem. I think the protect and assist objectives are a bit boring and kind of limit the amount of shit that happens, but no big deal. I do think the protect a target objective is fucking shit, though. Like, Syndicate agents, by nature of being able to steal TC and equipment from each other, will come into conflict naturally. Of course, having another Syndicate agent as your target, I think, should be an objective on its own, instead of the protect objectives. Like, your target is a Syndicate agent. Make sure they don't complete their objectives would be far more interesting and deadly and chaotic than protect this guy for the entire round. Oh wait, you walked away from them, another round removed? Haha, get fucked. Sorry, you want to do a different objective? Oh no, wow. Woohoo. Now, there's a couple issues I have with syndicates, but I want to highlight here, it doesn't come from their uplinks. I think the uplinks are fine. I think certain items could be worth a lot more, and certain items worth a lot less. Some items just fucking suck. Some items are bugged. Some stuff is shit. Some stuff is good. Blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. The objectives and the uplink go hand in hand. Although I do think there could be an idea of, like, I don't know. Maybe theoretically, just an idea here, we could make certain items in your uplink less expensive based on your objective. I don't know. Just an idea. But I now want to talk about the things I like with the Antag and the things I don't like with the Antag. Firstly, I like the lack of rechargeable weapons. Now you may be thinking, that's a major downside. You have limited ammo. What the hell are you going to do? That's by design. See, if every Syndicate agent had a laser pistol, Cap's laser pistol or, other very, very valuable rechargeable weapons, there's very much not a chance that a Syndicate agent can ever really get stopped. That's why they're stuck to either melee weapons or ammo weapons. They need to use bullets instead of rechargeable lasers. Quite simple. I think that's great, and I think it makes it so that if you, manage to roll a gamble crate, which I love gamble crates, and you manage to get an L6, and through getting an L6, you need to reload it and shit, right? Well, quite simply, you have to take over SEC. You have to get to the fucking ammo printer. You have to come up with an alternative solution besides just have a recharge. I think that's interesting, and I think that's good. Another thing I really, really like, the way you can accomplish your objectives. See, you may have a lot of different objectives, but most of them, you have a lot of different ways. With the exception of the kill objectives, and this is where I'm going to get to something I really don't like. Kill objectives are way too fucking hard to complete as a byproduct of shitmed. Like, just quite simply. It's a byproduct of shitmed. For reference, shitmed is current medical statuses or situations where on most servers, you can be revived from, like, nothing. Like, hell, even, like, on WizDead, you can be revived from basically nothing. It requires giving and then spacing of the brain to actually permanently kill someone, which I think that kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. If I was in control of Space Station and coding was easy and game design was easy, I would make it a lot harder to properly kill someone, but a lot easier to permanently kill someone. So, like, I think, like, I would make 100 conscious crit, 200 normal crit, and then 300 dead, like, dead. And then from being dead, it becomes a lot harder to revive someone who's properly dead. I don't know how to go about that, but right now I think it's a little too easy to kill someone and a little too easy to revive someone. I don't know. I think making the time to kill a lot larger could solve a lot of issues. Moving on, though. And here's something I want to talk about is, I don't know if this has been attached to all servers, but on every medium roleplay server I play, the objectives have been replaced with pink text instead of green text. For reference, pink text is quite simple. You get your two objectives, and if you accomplish them and how you accomplish them is based entirely on what you type. And you can type anything. You can type your attempts and your failures, and you can type your massive quest to declare, like, the NTR a criminal and drive them to die themselves or whatever. There's a lot of different ways you can go about your objectives with pink text, and even if you don't succeed, you can still consider it a victory based on what you accomplished toward your objective. I think this is great because, I mean, let's be real. How often have you seen an Antag actually go for something interesting with their kill objectives and not just, you know, throw mini bomb, gib target, move on? Or knock terrain, beat to death with toolbox. Antags are encouraged to do a lot more with pink text. Anyway, there are a couple issues with pink text though. One, pink text kind of retracts the need for, well, how do I put this? Pink text kind of ends up resulting in, like, how do I put this? It makes sense. Pink text ends up resulting in people doing a lot of weird shit with their Antag plays. Like, obviously you have the really grandiose, epic, major hostage plans that, and like that one short is with the hop blowing themselves up to prevent the man carp from succeeding, which, base as fuck. Really good, amazing. On the other hand, you have a lot of people playing just to kill people and cause, and be annoying. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Overall, I think pink text was a good change, and I do like it. I just think there are parts of it that are more annoying than others. Besides that though, I do think there is one major problem, and I think one big way. Yeah, that's right. Despite my love for Syndicate Agent, and, you know, despite it being the most basic fucking Antag objective in the whole, or Antag in the whole game, I have an idea to improve it. Double the amount of traitors, and double the likelihood that their objectives result in them killing each other. For reference, Cybersun and the Syndicate are not fully unified. Often their objectives can clash. And I think making Syndicate agents have each other as targets far more often, and having more Syndicate agents in the game, period, would add a lot to the game. I think that would greatly improve the amount of chaos that happens in a round without adding too much frustration to security. Because security can actually work with the Antags more, because if more Syndicate agents know and have targets of other Syndicate agents, security can, in fact, like, work with a Syndicate agent more often to take down other Syndicate agents. Like, think about it. Why would Sec not want to work with a potential agent on the station if their objective is to take out the fucking guy mass murdering people? You know? Like, a Syndicate agent's objective is die a glorious death. Why would they not work with a Syndicate agent whose job is to stop that mass murderer? I think there's a lot of really, really unique ideas. Hell, I think you could even add Syndicate agents to the Nuki game mode, where you could have Syndicate agents basically function like, this station is about to be under attack by Cybersun. Do everything in your power to make sure this station doesn't detonate, and also steal a couple things just to make sure they are, you know, at odds with security. You could negotiate a deal with security. You know, I'll give you guys a bunch of really good Syndicate equipment if you help me if you give me the thingy, and then I can betray them and be evil. Lead to a lot of tension. It can also lead to a lot of problems, though. I don't know. I feel like trusting people to be more good with Syndicate agent instead of not trusting them and limiting and restricting them more is the way to go. I don't know. This has been another bit of a rant video. I really like Syndicate agent, you know? I think it is the quintessential basic antagonist, and pretty much every antagonist builds off of Syndicate agent in some way. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Flabbergasser, User Faces, Loltart, Some Kitty Cat, Northstar, Pledge23, Webstarter, Philbin Timo, and Sathier Lapin. Sports show below. Channel member, become. I promise I'll stream more often. Anyway, video done. Bye.